Good morning, angels. Warwick here from RetroQTV. Sit tight, do not move a muscle, do not change that channel. We are about to recap and review Charlie's Angels Season 1, Episode 6, The Killing Kind. I'll be right back. Welcome back, angels. Thank you so much for spending some of your day with me. I really, really appreciate it. But listen, we've got a lot to get through, so let's not waste any time. Now, we open with this fancy schmancy car, which is like a Bentley or a Beamer or something like that, pulling into a scenic beachside lookout, from which emerges a very dapper Robert Loggia? Not sure, but anyway, he and his henchmen emerge, accompanied by that ominous music that lets us know whatever is about to go down is not going to end well. Now, a fun fact is that Robert also appears in my other favourite shows, The Bionic Woman in the episode Jamie and the King, and also in Wonder Woman in the episode Wonder Woman versus Gargantua. So we shall meet again, Robert, when I eventually get around to reviewing those shows. Now, listen, gotta say, I'm not mad at that suit. I would totally wear that today if it was spring and, if I were a wealthy, evil mastermind hell-bent on stopping at nothing to get what I want. Now, Robert is playing Terranova, who is not at the beach to top up his tan, but rather to threaten a pretty young journalist who refuses to hand over her forthcoming expose, which promises to reveal all, and I mean all, of Terranova's dirty little secrets. So after their heated exchange, she decides to cool down with a dip in the sea, and Terranova sends a signal to his submerged henchwoman Inga and tells her to do her stuff, baby. So Inga takes care of business while Terranova looks on, and I am on the edge of my seat. Dun, 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 dun. That is so James Bond. Very epic opening. Very thrilling. Now, back at the agency, the Angels' weekend plans are ruined by an emergency summons to the office. Apparently, Charlie has an ex-wife who has asked for a little help, along with, some extra, alimony.
This one came in for my ex-wife, along with a request for more alimony.
I didn't know you were married, Charlie.
Once was enough to convince me that I am not monogamous by nature.
Their mutual friend George Anderson wants Charlie's help to find out who murdered his daughter Brooke, who we just met, and it turns out she is the nosy journalist whose death was ruled, accidental by the coroner. However, George isn't buying what the coroner is selling, and thanks to an incriminating letter that Brooke sent him the day before, he knows that she was working on a Watergate-level expose on Moon Shadows, which is a conglomerate of resorts owned by Paul Terranova. Now check out goody two-shoes Sabrina over here. She's such a high achiever. How come she's the only one taking notes, I hope she doesn't let the other girls copy. If it was me, I'd be like, no, take your own. Now, it turns out that there is an informant, and it is up to the Angels to sniff him out. All right, now here we go. Exterior shot of Moon Shadows, and it is the exact same shot that we just saw while the Angels were getting their briefing. Now, it is impossible that both those cars would be parked in the identical spot, and this happens so often that Angels are shown slides of locations or of people during their briefing that are impossible to take unless, they've been blessed with the powers of time travel. In fact, you know what? I think I might turn this into a drinking game. Cheers! I'll be sloshed. So Kelly pulls up and barely gives those bellboys a glance, but they sure check her out. Turns out Jill's already in place and she's loitering around the tennis courts, and she introduces herself to Dale, who I guess is like the head coach, as the fill-in tennis coach, and she certainly has an impressive resume, but before she can say another word, Dale warns Jill that people don't like being asked a lot of questions around here. Like, what? I mean, she hasn't said anything yet. I guess Jill's reputation as a nosy Parker who doesn't know when to mind her own business precedes her. Now, Dale also lets Jill know that she'll be a hit with the dirty old men looking to straighten out their backhands as well. So, cut to Harvey Sunday, ladies lingerie mogul and home of Sunday Sundays, and Harvey's candy panties, who taps Jill up for a few rounds of, gin fizz. All right, so in the first 2 minutes of the show, we have Kelly leered at by lecherous bellboys, Jill poured at by a lecherous underwear manufacturer. I mean, not exactly advancing women's rights, I mean, I don't even know if there are any women's writers on this show. I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for that as I review the seasons, because the tone for me in this episode feels a little off. All right, so back to Terranova. He's getting an update from his goons, who are turning over every rock to look for that informant. So those Angels better put on the gas and find Deep Throat before Terranova does. All right, now Kelly and her bikini head to lunch with only a lacy swing coat between her and her modesty, and she promptly marches over to Terranova's table to establish her cover as a fashion photographer scouting locations. Now, this white bikini looks exactly the same as the one she wore, like, three episodes ago in Night of the Strangler. So it looks like good old Kelly swiped a few goodies from the Kevin Sinclair collection using her 5-finger discount. Can't blame her. It's cute. All right, so back at the table, Kelly's taking some uninvited snaps, and Terranova has a fit. Clearly camera shy, it was a little OTT. So to lighten the mood, he offers Kelly one of Inga's special massages, and from the look on Inga's face, she can't wait to get her mitts on Kelly. Kelly parts with an invitation to Terranova for a private sitting.
I'm just sorry you're so camera shy.
Maybe you'll give me a private sitting when we get to know each other better.
All right, now you don't need to be a genius to read between the lines to see what Kelly is offering. And again, this feels a little bit off, I get it that angels frequently use seduction as a tactic to advance their investigations, but sometimes it crosses the line from flirty to dirty. And this is one of those times for me. But, what do you think? Now we cut to Bree. She's up at George Anderson's beachside pad looking for some information on Brooke. And then we are right back at Moon Shadows, where Inga is going hard on that Swedish massage while Kelly pumps her for answers. Conveniently, Jill arrives early for her appointment, and a convenient phone call sends Inga to head office, leaving the angels to, dish the dirt.
Gee, I hope I didn't interrupt anything. I mean, did you two want to be alone?
That's very cute, Jill. I feel like the roller derby was just run on my spine. Any minute, I thought she was going to start singing Strangers in the Night.
All right, now that scene was really cute. I do love that little smile on Jill's face as she pokes fun at Kelly and Inga wanting to be alone. Although Kelly's reply that she was worried Inga was going to start singing Strangers in the Night makes zero sense. She just finished telling Jill that she felt like Inga had played roller derby on her spine. Not exactly sensual, so I'm not sure where she got the idea that Inga was about to serenade her. Look, I had to break it to Kelly, but Inga's just not that into you. The dialogue in this episode. So the angels let us know who's in the running for Informant of the Year. We've got Dr. Dignam, who turns out is not a medical doctor, but of what we don't know yet. And then we've got Harvey Sunday, who blows hot and cold, but Jill hopes to learn more when they catch up for a set of tennis a little bit later. All right, now Jill also tells Kelly that Bosley's computer has revealed that Terranova and his wife's social security numbers are sequential, which is impossible given, he's May and she's December. So throw in the fact that he's camera shy and 2 and 2 equal 10. Can you guess what? You got it. False identities. But why? Well, that's $1 million question. I guess we're going to find out sooner or later. So the girls hatch a plan to snoop around Terranova's office before Inga returns to finish what she started. And she goes in hard. Now back on the beach, Bree asks George what he knows, which is, nothing. But he, of course, pumps her full of questions. So she spills her guts and tells him everything she knows. Who is the private investigator here? That scene was entirely pointless. We did not learn anything we did not know already. So I don't know why they bothered other than, Kate Jackson needed some screen time. Anyway, we're back at Moon Shadows again, and Jill confronts Harvey for standing up for tennis because she hasn't been stood up since she's been out of braces, you see. But he's got no time to volley because he's got one eye on Dr. Dignam and he is following him around the whole resort. So while they're both busy, Jill decides she's going to go forage around in Dignam's room. Now, I love this scene with Jill telling the maid that she's just bribed where and how to leave the tennis racket.
If you leave the racket inside, that wouldn't be breaking any rules, would it?
No, I guess it wouldn't.
If you put the racket on the bed, then he'll see it right when he comes in the door.
Jill wastes no time snooping around Dignam's room and quickly finds surveyor photos of beachfront real estate as well as the proposed developments. And she learns that he is the county planning commissioner and apparently a doctor of geology as well. I smell a scandal. All right, now we are back at the beach, and maybe that earlier scene wasn't so pointless because it turns out George Anderson is not George Anderson. He's an imposter who is in place to trap the informant. So I'm not sure what happened to the real George Anderson, but I'm guessing he's been reunited with his daughter Brooke. We'll see. Meanwhile, they have decided, the henchmen and friends, that Bree knows way too much and it's time for her to sashay away, which kind of makes no sense because she just finished telling the fake George Anderson that she's working for the agency and she has associates on the case. So it makes no sense to bump her off. It's not going to change anything about who knows what. Plus, given Sabrina fell hook, line and sinker for the fake George Anderson's cover, wouldn't it be better to keep her close and continue to pump her for information rather than bump her off? But hey, what do I know? I'm not a henchman. Still, it's a great excuse for a car chase. Watch out, Bree, you in danger, girl. Oh my gosh, I love Bree. Look, she is so cool under pressure. Instead of stepping on the gas, she's phoning Bosley to, call in the license plate. I tell you what, if I am ever in trouble and picking teams, Bree is on mine. She is my number one pick. Now, the bad guy pulls up short, careens over a cliff, and inevitably and spontaneously bursts into flames, as per usual. Now, Bree heads back to George Anderson's beach house, determined to catch the bad guys, and even more determined not to lose her purse. Why is she, juggling that purse arm to arm while wielding a gun, while trying to look for mysterious henchmen? It is not a Birkenstock, Bree. You can put it down. I'm sure it will be there when you get back. So no George, but Jill and Kelly do turn up and they confirm that Terranova isn't Terranova, but he is Gerald Galenti, indicted for fencing millions in stolen securities, but took a deal, snitched on his friends, and landed in the witness relocation program with a brand new identity and a brand new scam. Now, we learned, thanks to Encyclopedia Duncan, that the coastline is protected and that there's this whole conversation with Kelly reminding Sabrina that she said Terranova had the local police in his pocket after a conversation with the sheriff. What? Wait, what?
walking encyclopedia.
Sabrina, you said Terranova had the local police in his pocket? The sheriff was about as subtle as a riveter. I get it. If the sheriff is bought and paid for, why not Dr. Digman, the county planning commissioner?
I mean, that did not happen. There was no scene with Sabrina and the sheriff. There was no scene with her telling the angels about a conversation. The only scenes of Bree have been at the beach house with the fake George Anderson and playing dodgeball cards with the bad guys. So that is a big boo-boo. Either a continuity error, a deleted scene, or just plain old bad writing. Maybe it's missing from the Blu-ray DVD. Maybe it's... I might have to check the original DVD and see if it's in that, because that something doesn't add up there. Tell me what's going on, because I got no clue. That's throwing me for a loop. I'm lost. All right, now we're back at Moon Shadows for cocktails, and Bosley turns up and he bumps into Harvey Sunday, who is not a underwear mogul, but indeed a Senate investigator that Bosley worked with years ago. He also complains about his missus packing brown shoes with a black tux. So it's interesting that we learn that he's got a missus, but I am sure in future episodes he denies her very existence. So who knows? Turns out that Sabrina takes longer to get ready than Jill, but she does have a very reasonable explanation as to why.
Where's Sabrina?
Well, she'll be down in a minute. Do you know that she takes even longer getting ready than you do?
Now, Bosley, I've explained that to you before. It's not the dressing time, it's the bath time. I always like to take a long time in the bath because a bath makes me very logical.
All right, Angels, formation, it is showtime. Jill distracts Terranova with another double entendre while Kelly sneaks off to do some snooping, and Bree... What? Where are you, Bree? Hurry up, you're missing all the fun.
I thought that while I was here we might be able to play together.
I mean, I have no words. Again, the tone is just like, it's just like the wee bit off, don't you think? And then we see Kelly foraging around in Terranova's office. She finds a bunch of incriminating files. She starts snapping away and taking pictures, but of course she's busted by Terranova. Now she tries to persuade him it's not what it looks like, and she'd be happy to explain over a private, quiet drink. But whatever she's selling, Terranova is not buying.
I'm sure if we sat down alone over a quiet drink, we could work something out.
Oh, Sabrina, I think you need to go back upstairs and take another look at that hair, girl. All that time getting ready and you've come down looking like a grandma? I mean, look, we've all been there, right? You're off to a party and you think, let me try something new, and then you totally backfires. Too late to start again, so you go to the party with hair you hate and spend the whole night pretending it doesn't bother you. Kind of like now, y'all. I'm growing it, but it's a journey. So the angels spot Kelly being marched out of the cocktail party and miss ample opportunities to escape. I mean, as if Terranova would shoot her point blank in the middle of a crowded cocktail party on his property. I mean, she could have screamed, she could have fainted. To be quite frank, she could have just walked away. Anyway, we learn that Kelly's fate is another round with Inga, and there is definitely no serenading this time. Don't hold out any hope, Kelly, for that. So they divide and conquer. Jill follows Terranova while Boz and Bree follow Kelly. So we find out that the real George Anderson is indeed alive, but not so well, because Inga baby has been torturing him and still has a few tricks up her sleeve.
There's a way to reach under a man's rib cage to his heart muscle. One squeeze and he either talks or dies.
Yeah, I think I'm going to skip the spa treatments at Moon Shadows. Now, Inga is definitely giving me those Bond villain vibes. What do you think? She's kind of a mix between, Jaws and, Rosa Clape, the one with the shoes. It's like, very funny. So Jill follows Terranova all the way across town to a mysterious warehouse where she finds Dignam as well. And he's getting cold feet because he was followed to the dredging site by Harvey's undies, who we find out is now fish food. It's not what Dignam signed up for, and definitely not what Harvey signed up for. And we're back at Moon Shadows, and Bree breaks up Inga's party, and Jill pulls up the rear, but with a purse again. Ladies, this is a rescue, not a fashion parade. Now George starts singing like a canary, telling Bree that he's hidden Brooke's manuscript, and about to say where when she's like, "Shut your trap, George. We got plenty of time for that," which gives Inga her perfect opportunity to take one more lunge at Kelly. But Kelly says, check your lipstick before you come for me.
Sorry I don't have time for the full massage. Maybe next time. I
mean, is that the most iconic hair flip in history? I'm sure it is. Fight me on that one. Terranova shows up and tries to ruin the Angels' escape plans, but they've already got a diversion organised of an escaped herd of horses, which gives them all the time they need to hitch a ride with Bosley and for the cops to nab Terranova and friends. And then as they're leaving the scene, there is some random line from Jill at the end about needing to go to the market. I mean, you listen for yourself.
Oh, Bosley, if we pass the market on the way home, I'm out of whipped cream.
What does that even mean? I can only assume it's meant to be some dirty innuendo again. So we're back at the agency getting the wrap up. We know that Harvey, Sunday and Brooke were trading information, one for their expose and the other for their Senate investigation to prevent the illegal development of yet another Moon Shadows resort. Sadly, they met grisly ends, but at least wrongs were righted thanks to the angels. Charlie signs off for what we assume will be another tete-a-tete with the bikini-clad beauty, but it's actually a lovely and unexpected scene where he's sailing with George Anderson, reminiscing and describing the sunset to his old friend. So that is a wrap on The Killing Kind. What did you all think of this episode? For me, it was meh. I mean, the story of a greedy developer using the witness protection program to launch another scam, and he'll dispatch anyone who gets between him and his millions. Well, kind of a bit convoluted, and that whole fake identity thing was a total red herring. It added nothing to the plot. And it was certainly far from the Watergate level expose promised at the beginning of the episode. I didn't love all that sleazy dialogue. I really didn't. It was tacky, Sabrina, very tacky. And then that whole scene, which is missing, which is where Sabrina supposedly questioned the local sheriff and deduced his in Terranova's pocket and then told Kelly and Jill about it. I mean, huge plot hole. Although, it may just be missing from my DVD. I don't know. Let me know. And some of that dialogue made absolutely no sense. Jill being told to mind her own beeswax before she even asked a single question, or Kelly thinking Inga had the hots for her after being massaged black and blue. And then, of course, our angel gets caught red-handed, which almost always happens, although I did love that hair flip, when Kelly lets Inga know her dance card is full. I did also like that last little scene between Charlie and George. It was very nice to see a little more of Charlie besides his poolside romps. That was a very, very nice touch. But overall, not my favourite. I mean, silly plot, big plot holes, messy dialogue, but hey, what do I know? Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed it, that's all that matters. Now, by the way, if you like this shirt, I don't know if you can see this, it is a one I designed myself. It has all 6 angels in sort of a Warhol pop art inspired print. You can grab one of your very own at my store, bit.ly RetroQTV. And also, hey, if you're on Instagram, come and continue the conversation over there. I post I post photos from each and every episode. Now, next time we see each other, it will be for Charlie's Angels Season 1, Episode 7, To Kill an Angel. So until then, bye, angels.